Hello everyone, I'm the Multiverse Maker, and today I'm going to be talking about a announcement that DC Comics did a couple weeks ago. DC Comics, for anyone who doesn't know, is a comic franchise that produces some really big and known characters like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, Aquaman. I think I already said him. But today I am not necessarily talking about those individuals as they are. So DC Comics announced a new comic series that is called All In. So, to give a brief description of what this is, it's a story co-written by the writers Scott Snyder, who is responsible for Absolute Batman, and Joshua Williamson, I do believe is how the last name is pronounced, who is responsible for writing Superman. So, DC All In is taking place following the events of Absolute Power, where basically the Justice League, Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, and the others fought against the division in the world in order to help usher in a new era of union, togetherness. Instead of all being divided, we're all for one connected thought. I'm not sure how to correctly word it, but you get what I mean. All In takes place after that, and we have a return of one of probably DC's most dangerous foe, who, in my opinion, can easily take out someone like Brainiac pretty easily. That is Darkseid. Yep, Darkseid is back, and he is ready to fight. So, in this issue, Darkseid is coming back to try to take over our universe. You know, same old thing. He's power hungry idiot. But on our side, when we swung the first blow, or a strike to match Darkseid, it actually shook the core of the DC universe. I'm paraphrasing here. The DC universe at its core, which changed everything. It swapped the roles of the universe, basically, where the heroes were the top dogs. They always won. They always got what they wanted. That there is up for debate on there. But in this case, no. In this universe, the heroes are the underdogs. And I have to say, I love the designs for these characters. I mean, the main three of the Justice League, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, they all have completely different looks on the cover. And can I just say, I love the look of the cover. If there was ever a thing of showing two different sides, this is a perfect look of it. And God, everyone's look is really cool. And I just, I can't go into how much I actually love these designs. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about them, but you're going to see some time lapses in the background. And these images are, in my opinion, what would be the underdog version of some other prominent members of the JLA. So, as I talk about these designs, you're also going to see underdog versions of some other ones. And they're going to be pretty obvious of what they are, but I'll go ahead and let you know who they are in case you're not exactly certain. So, first off will be my favorite loudmouth, doesn't know when to shut up, talking character, the Flash. Okay, first I have to honestly go with, for me, who is the most notable transformation out of the three, and God almighty, that is Batman. I mean, look at this guy. You know the whole thing of like Bane broke the bat? That whole thing? Well, this version of Batman, he looks like he can break the Bane. Like, holy crud. He is huge. He is freaking... He's been hitting the weights, that way he can punch Apocalypse in the face in order to break his nose. That is just like a complete 180 to what Batman usually looks like, which is that smaller, yes, muscular, but smaller frame, more agility and all that. Because I think, if I recall correctly, in some iterations of Batman, Batman is shorter than both Superman and Wonder Woman. Not by much in some iterations, but he is shorter. And I just love the look. His overall suit pretty much looks the same. His cape though looks like, I don't know, it's been fashioned into blades or something on his fists. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, that is honestly, this one is probably one of my favorite alterations of Batman. Now, saying this, I'm just gonna say it, out of all DC, Batman is not necessarily my favorite character. That goes to the Flash and a little bit of Constantine as well. But as overall a design, I actually really like this. Even though the suit itself, from what I can see, doesn't really have that much of a difference. Which, I'm not saying that they could have done another thing. Like, this is me just being biased, or just my opinion at this point. But I feel like, I don't know, they could have done, I don't know, a little bit more so on the look. Like, I know it's probably kind of hard to do a new look for Batman that's not some sort of mimicry of how the other Dark Knights, the evil version of Batman. But I don't know, since this whole thing is supposed to be the underdogs and everything, I would have figured, I don't know, I like the muscle look, I like how big he is, but I want something that would be somewhat reminiscent of Bane, I guess would be the best way of putting it. Like, I don't know if they fuse Bane and Batman together. I'm not sure. It's just, that's the only thing I can think of how to describe the direction I would have gone with making this look and design for Batman. Am I saying it's bad? No. Far from it. I thoroughly enjoy it. But that's the direction I would have gone. And if you're curious, in the background right now, it is the Flash, as I said at the beginning of this. But this version of the Flash, yes, he still has his suit, but I kind of wanted to make it look like it was, I guess you say, pieced together / homemade sort of look. I don't know if that necessarily transfers over to the design, but I wanted basically, if we were to take the opposite underdog approach to the Flash, in my head, you take away the Star Labs funded super suit, all that tech, all that gear, and all that stuff, and make it to where it's homemade looking suit. I was initially going to do something akin to the super suit that I think it was the Snyder universe of... No, not Snyder. Whoever it was who directed the most recent DC movies, like Ezra Miller Flash, and the other ones. I was initially thinking of like that homemade armored look that suit had, you know, before the Flash movie where it was CGI. I was thinking that, but I don't know. I didn't want to do a rehash of that one, so I just made it look like he has a sleeveless hoodie with a Flash logo on it, and he's wearing it. I kept with the yellow boots. Yellow boots are there. Yes, that's a Flash staple at this point. But yeah, my thoughts on this Batman and my underdog Flash. Which, I will say this, in this universe, he might be running probably noticeably slower because he is supposed to be the underdog. But anyway, final look. Next up, Wonder Woman. Okay, so Wonder Woman's design in this is actually, I guess you'd say, the opposite of what she usually is. Wonder Woman, whenever you think of what she looks like, it's the Amazonian princess, perfect hair, perfect body, no tattoos, no scars, none of that. While this underdog version, she's still probably a princess. I'm not doubting that possibility. But her general look doesn't read like, in my opinion, a Themyscira princess, like how we would know it. She reads more like a... what would be the correct wording, a correct way to say this? She looks like it would be a DC version of Conan the Barbarian universe. Like, if you were to put Wonder Woman in that universe of how dark it can get, how grudgy and everything, and all of that, I feel like it would be kind of something like similar to that universe that this version of Wonder Woman came from, because she has, well, black lipstick, a huge ass tattoo on her shoulder. She still has her sword and shield. I don't know if she has her lasso of truth. I wasn't able to tell from the pictures, or I didn't see it. But she's also in one of the images on the main DC like website for this new comic, she's riding a frickin' Hell Horse Pegasus, I guess. If anyone's seen, probably best a way of describing this, if anyone has seen the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movie and remembers seeing the scene where the one Ghost Rider mounts the horse that he has and it goes and turns into a fire horse. You know, the whole thing like how Ghost Rider does with his motorcycle, he does with this one does it with a horse. It kind of gives me that vibe, except make it a Pegasus, and that is the steed, the mount, the mode of flying transportation that Wonder Woman would have. Which, now that I think about it, I think they did that because I don't think she probably has that invisible flying jet thing, which, in my opinion, doesn't really make much sense because, like, okay, so I'm just gonna straight up say this. There are certain areas of DC knowledge that is absent from my memory because I'm more lenient on Marvels as, like, fanboy of, but what's with the invisible jet? I mean, you can still see inside of it and see just a floating person driving a jet. Unless if you're inside the jet, no one sees you. But I don't know. It's just, to my knowledge, that's never been a thing that I understood. Like, do people not see you when you're in there? Do people still see you, but they just see someone driving a invisible jet, or just sitting in the air, turning what looks to be an imaginary wheel while you're flying, zipping through the air? I don't necessarily know. I would appreciate anyone to fill in my knowledge of that, because I can't guarantee I'll remember to Google this. But her look is honestly awesome. And I'm not upset. I don't have any critiques or anything about this look. It's still Diana. It's still the princess of the Amazon, a demigod. But I can't think of anything of what I would do that would be different to this look. I mean, A+ all aboard for me. Oh, I forgot to say. What you're seeing in the background as far as drawing goes is my attempt to do a different look for Aquaman, and I will be 100% honest. I am let's just say a yay or a nay on the look. I think it's good, but I don't know, maybe I'm just too self-criticizing. The look of this, I feel like I probably could have done better. Probably it's the pose and all that, but I was thinking of, like, either, you know, those like derelict fishing towns, and there's always that one guy who's wearing that rain coat with the one hat, the one big like rain hat or whatever, who drives those dredge boats, or those like small fishing boats that be like for 1 to 3 people, who would like chum the waters and most stuff. That's the kind of look I was thinking of. Or just like that scary old man who's alone in the middle of nowhere in a lighthouse sort of vibe. Like, that's just the general look and idea I was thinking of. Idea-wise, I think it is cool. Execution, in my opinion, I think I could have done better. But, I don't know. I think I might be just a little too self-criticizing myself on this one. But, if I were to grade it, probably B-. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the Wonder Woman look. And I'm honestly quite excited to see what else they're going to change about these characters, or if any other members of the Justice League show up. Because at this point, Flash, he's a staple. He's going to show up. So I'm kind of curious to see how they do him compared to how I did look for it. So yeah, that would be pretty interesting to see. Okay, next one. Okay, so like Batman, Superman is his general suit and everything kind of looks the same, except he has what looks like solar energy patches or markings on his suit. I'm not necessarily sure how to 100% describe it, but it's just something about it that's just honestly really cool. So the other stuff that they changed with him. So, okay, Superman. Picture him in your head. It's pretty simple. Clean shaved, kept hair, chiseled jawline, the look for the, I don't know, the all-American Boy Scout. He still looks like Superman, but his look as far as hair wise and like clean shaved, that is completely different. Like his hair is longer and it still has that, I guess you could say, good looking American man look, but it's like a, what's, you know how in some animes there's those characters that are like, I want to say verging on the look of a emo boy, where they have that long hair, but it's like done in a way that even if it's messy, they still look hot, basically. That's kind of the look, in my opinion, that they have with the hair. And they gave him a 5 o'clock shadow, which still is the complete opposite of Superman, because I swear, the man half the time, he doesn't need to shave. He doesn't grow facial hair. The only facial hair he has is his eyebrows. But, yeah, the look overall is pretty cool. I wonder if there would be a reason why he has those, like, sun energy or solar energy patches in his suit. Like, I wonder if the reason for it is that maybe in this world, the sun that they have, because if this is like a world where Apocalypse won, maybe not Apocalypse, Darkseid won. Maybe the sun, because I do believe Darkseid goes to each universe and consumes all resources of either a planet or that system. So in my head, doing that to a sun wouldn't be too far of a stretch for Darkseid to do. So maybe in this universe, Darkseid is siphoning off Earth's solar energy from the sun. So he does that to keep himself supercharged with a diminishing star that he gets his powers from. Like, that's my theory on why he does it. Of course, it could also just be entirely a stylistic standpoint, but to make Superman the underdog, unless they didn't do like the Flashpoint version of Superman where he was a toothpick of a man who couldn't control his powers and was mentally underdeveloped. But yeah, that's the only thing I could think of if they were to make Superman the underdog, make the source of his power diminished in power, so the sun. So he has to have these solar patches in his suit. Or unless they could make it to where he's a version of the Caped Wonder that can't control his strength and all that stuff. But that's just my thoughts. Looks wise, I really like it. When I saw this look, I legitimately said this to my brother when we both saw this, that this is the version of Superman that I like. Forget the Boy Scout, forget the clean cut. Give me this one, make him the main Superman through everything. I want the one that looks like he has seen some shit in his life. Give me that version. Buff Batman, small Batman, stealthy Batman, whatever. He's okay, I guess. Still not necessarily my favorite. Okay, so the sketch in the background that you're seeing, if you haven't guessed already, for those of you who have seen Young Justice, the Young Justice TV series, this is a Green Martian. It is the Martian Manhunter. But I did not draw him in his humanoid look. What I did was I have it to where he is in his normal Martian look, but he has like this nomad getup, or just like the fabric that he's wearing, he's using to cover a majority of the scars that he has that you can see on his body. Where I tried my best to do like burn marks, but I necessarily don't know how a Green Martian or a Martian in general would heal. So I just have it to where it looks like he has different like skin patches grafted onto those burn marks to heal. But yeah, and if any of you say, oh, that doesn't look like a Green Martian, and I might get crucified for saying this, but I looked up Green Martians, and I also saw pictures of the other Martians in the Young Justice series, and I'm just gonna say it, besides some ornament change on the head and maybe some slight other changes, like physiology speaking, Green Martians, Red Martians, White Martians, whatever color Martian that they have in the DC universe, or at least in Young Justice, they all look pretty much the same except for like skin change and just like general like either clothing option or ornamentation. So any of you who are like, oh, they're completely different, they don't look the same, show me a picture or describe to me how they look completely different, down to like the way the eyes are drawn and everything, and then I will give you, I don't know, you're right point, egg on my face, whatever. But at this point, to me, besides skin coloration and some slight design changes, White Martians and Green Martians, Red Martians also, they all look the same. And also, little side note with the Martians, at least the white ones, they kind of look like these one alien characters from the later series of Ben 10. Not the newer one, but the one in the past, like Ben 10 Alien Force, I think it was called. It was the one where Ben was a teenager, where he was like in high school and everything and all that, and he had access to like newer aliens like Swamp Fire, Big Chill, Echo Echo, that era of Ben 10. But I digress. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the DC. That's where All In is taking place. Absolute after the events of Absolute Power. Honestly, I've seen the work of Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. And honestly, these two working together on this is going to be a epic story. And yeah, that's my opinion and my 3 alternate looks for 3 other members of the JLA. Which, roll call. Flash. Aquaman, I'm still not quite sure on the look. And then Martian Manhunter, who is in his actual Martian form and not the humanoid look that he has on Earth. But yeah, my thoughts on these characters, a little bit about the stories that I somewhat read of. But if you want some more in-depth detail on the story of all this, I will go ahead and leave a link to the actual article on DC's website down below in the description, along with a link to the announcement video that they did on YouTube, where they talk about a little bit more from the main people who's writing this themselves and everything, because obviously they would know more. They'd be able to talk about it more fluently than I can. But yeah, go ahead and check those out and everything. And don't forget, like, subscribe, ring that notification bell for new stuff. And if you don't know, I have a webtoon that I'm now working on. It is called Symbiote Tales. I'll also leave that in the link in the description, where I basically tell the story of my own basically version of a Venom character, but I also include like thematic sources from like the Alien trilogy series, the Alien movie series, from like Sigourney Weaver to modern day, to like the Prototype game series, 1 and 2, which they honestly make me need a 3rd one. And yeah, other sources of that nature that I will be drawing from to make this webtoon. But I'm actually really happy with how everything looked. The first chapter 0, episode 1, is up right now. So if you want to take a look, it's on Webtoon right now. I have a link in the description, but it's also on Tapas, along with it being on Pixiv. Which, Pixiv, I have a lot of my other drawings that I've done so far, which a couple of them, some of them, majority of them, I have a video on. Whether story-wise, me talking about stuff, or a Marvel Fusion that I did for a couple weeks. So yeah, if you like it, do all the YouTube algorithm stuff, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. And bye, and take a look at this comic. Do your research on it. It honestly looks really cool. And read mine also. Bye.